back. My next guest may be one of the stars of Shark Tank, but he really killed it on this season's Dancing with the Stars. He also happens to be one of the most powerful businessmen in America. Please welcome Robert Herjavec. I'm a big fan of Dancing with the Stars.
So am I.
You were fabulous.
I had so much fun.
So great.
Thank you.
So great. And you did.
I left too soon.
I know you left too soon, but you were fabulous. Really, really
time.
great. And I know it's probably for everybody. It seems like it's kind of a crazy experience. How would you describe the experience that you had?
Oh my gosh, Meredith. People don't realize I was on that show for 75 days, and I rehearsed every day for 4 hours a day. Every single day.
Was that typical, or is that because you're like a type A person?
I'm a bit of a type A, and I really wanted to win.
Yeah,
but it was great. I'm in unbelievable shape. If I took my shirt off right now...
Go ahead, go ahead! Come on!
Here's the crazy things you do on that show. At one point, I'm sitting there, and Patti LaBelle comes by, and she goes, I'd like all of you to take your shirts off for one of my promos. And without even thinking about it, you take your shirt off because it's Patti LaBelle.
And everybody else has taken their shirt off. You know, in the beginning...
It's Dancing with the Stars.
Exactly. But I know that you were disappointed in the way that your relationship, or rumored relationship, with Kim was handled on the show.
Well, it's funny, Tom. I was, because it was very genuine, and we got along great, and we had a great time. And at the very end, Tom Bergeron came up to me and said, in 20 years, it's the only time somebody said something to him they didn't have a comeback to. He said to me when we got kicked off at the very end, said, so I hear this rumor you have a relationship with somebody. Can you tell us finally how you feel about that person? And I said, Tom, I'm not sure I feel that way about you.
But you've been very protective of whatever relationship you may or may not have, and I respect that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's important.
What people don't realize is, you know, they made a big deal out of me saying I love you and all these other things, but, you know, you work with people, not just Kim, but you work with all the dancers for 75 days in a row, 6 hours. I mean, you're going to get very close to people. We got very close to Suzanne Summers. Noah has become a very good friend of mine. You get to know people.
So you love them all the same?
I would have loved them more if I won. But I still love them.
You went through a divorce recently after 25 years of marriage, and that's a long time, and it has to be painful for anybody. But at one point, you considered suicide after that.
Well, you know, I used to think I was the strongest person I knew. I felt like nothing would ever faze me. I've gone through stuff you can't imagine, and I always went forward and never felt infallible or weak. And then all of this stuff happened, and we had a, you know, and not that I'm good and she's bad, but we had a challenging time with the kids, and I didn't see my kids for a while, and it was hard. And, you know, mental health isn't talked a lot about because it's perceived as a sign of weakness. And I kind of hit rock bottom, and I didn't know what to do. And, you know, at one point I woke up at 2 in the morning and really lost. And we all find our own way out of stuff like that. Some people go to Hawaii, some people buy a car. I called my priest, and I said, I need to go help another human being because right now I can't even help myself. And I wanted to go to Africa and help the Ebola patients. And he said, okay, step back from the ledge. How about a homeless shelter? And I'm the kind of guy, and I hate to admit this, that if I saw a homeless person on the street, I wouldn't even notice them. I would step over them, not to be mean or anything, but it wasn't part of my world. And that night I was at, he sent me to the homeless shelter in Seattle, and I was working in the soup kitchen, and I went from that to doing search and rescue missions because there's people in the community that can't even come to the shelter. Anyway, I was fixed in 3 days because my time for self-pity is very small, but I stayed for over 2 weeks because I had a great time, and I found an incredible ray of happiness. It is remarkable how people society thinks are at the very end have so much joy and so much love. I had a great time.
It also sounds like not only did you get through the self-pity and the pain you're going through, But it also sounds like you evolved a lot as a human being when you say prior to this you would have walked, and that's such an honest and raw thing to say.
I was so honest, and I said to them, I'm not here to help anybody else. I'm just here for selfish reason to help myself. And through that experience, it just changes you, and it's remarkable.
It's truly remarkable. When we come back, wait until you hear this guy's amazing rags to riches story. We'll be right back. Back with Robert Herjavec, star of Shark Tank and one heck of a dancer.
It's true.
Yours is really a story of rags to riches. I mean, you were 8 years old when your family left Croatia. You had one suitcase, I believe, between all of you and $20.
We did.
That's it. And here you are now, a multimillionaire. And life isn't just about money, obviously. But could you have envisioned at 8 that you would be where you are now?
No, it's funny, on the show, Mark and I and the other sharks, we talk about this. Is success something you know you want? Are people born to be successful, or can you make yourself successful? And I really believe that you can get there.
Do you think you are born there, or you can make yourself?
No, I think you can make yourself. Mark Cuban always says that he knew at 12 he was going to be rich. And I always say, you know, at 12, I just didn't want to be poor.
Yeah.
I just looked around and said, there's got to be a better way to live. But my story is no different or special than so many other people in this country. I mean, America is the land of immigrants. I mean, so many people came to these shores to give their kids a better life. And that's the great thing about this country, is you really can get ahead even today.
Yeah, and your dad, your mom and dad were two of those people. And you tell a wonderful story about your dad. I guess you spotted a Cadillac at one point. Your dad says, that's something we'll never have.
It's funny, we didn't have cars in a communist country, and to my dad, the ultimate car was a Cadillac. So I'd buy a Ferrari, and I'd say, huh? And he'd come over and say, nice, but no Cadillac. You know, I'd buy a Rolls Royce, and he'd come over and go, no Cadillac. And I remember the first time we saw a Cadillac, I said to him, Dad, what's that? And he said, you no worry, that's for rich people. And so when I first sold my first business, I called him up and I said, can you come and help me? I'm building a fence. I don't know. And we go to a coffee shop, and across the street is this Cadillac dealership. And I said, let's go over and have a look. And we walk in, and there's only one car in the showroom. It's this shiny white pearl Cadillac color. And we go up to it, and I say, what do you think? He goes, it's nice. And I say, why don't you sit in it? And he goes, no, my pants dirty. I don't want to. And I'm like, no, it's okay. And he sits in it, and he looks in, and he puts his hands on the wheels, and I say, what do you think? And he says, one day. And I say, today's the day. You know, and I flip the visor, and I give him the keys. So here's the funny part of that story. My dad passed away about 7 years ago. And when I went to get the car, it only had 3,000 miles on it. He would never drive it if it was raining. He would never, him and my mom used to take it to church, but he would park so far away from the church, just in case somebody dinged the door, that my mom and him would take separate cars to church.
What a gift you gave your dad.
He loved it so much.
It must have meant a great deal for you to be able to do that for him.
That's the great thing about money that people don't understand. In this country, you have to make a certain amount of money to take care of yourself. But money is freedom, and creating wealth is freedom. And the great thing about that is you get to do great things for the people that you love.
You certainly have. Between that and doing Dancing with the Stars, which was your mom's favorite show, for sure. And you have made so many people's dreams come true with Shark Tank. There's now a Shark Tank spin-off called Beyond the Tank. Tell us a little bit about that.
The great thing about Shark Tank is we help people's dreams come true, but the updates are really quick. And people get the impression that everything's great. Well, as anybody who's run a business knows, it's not always great. So Beyond the Tank is where Shark Tank ends. It's a longer follow-up. And sometimes it's not good. Sometimes these businesses need some tough love. And so Beyond the Tank is tough love.
Well, everybody's very excited about it, Robert. It's such a pleasure to meet you, and I'm not supposed to pry into your private life, so I'm not going to. But just in case there's something going on, you're both very lucky because you are a lovely, lovely man. Really lovely man. Thank you. So nice to meet you. Catch Beyond the Tank Friday nights at 9, 8 Central on ABC. We'll be right back.